This is a 7Artisan 50mm f1.8, the first full-frame autofocus lens by them. And today we're going to do a little bit of my only lens review to see how good this lens can be. Today we're going to be testing out this lens, and full disclosure, they did send me this lens to test out, but it's not a sponsored video. They did not exchange anything with me whatsoever, but send me the lens to review. And this is going to be my personal opinion and experience with it, non-biased, because they have no say whatsoever in this video. So let's get ready. I want to talk firstly about the build of this lens and how it feels in the hands of using it and the type of, kind of quality within the lens itself. This lens is a little bit more metallic-y kind of feel compared to my Sony and Tamron lenses, but it still feels pretty good in the hand, whether it's not like that heavy. I believe it's about 480 grams worth of the weight, so it's not the worst kind of, weight when it comes down to a lens. One of the things that you will notice though is because it's just metallic, it might feel a little bit kind of front heavy, but it's not so badly once you pair it up with your camera, and it's not really that much heavier than my other lenses anyway, so nothing to worry about in that aspect for me. One thing that it has this little bit of a click kind of style of type of aperture ring, but it's not the click type, it's just smoothly throughout, which it can be a pro and a con depending how you want to use it. For me, I just keep it on the A part right there because I'm able to simply just move it more with my dial a lot easier and faster, because this, I feel like I could just not get it as precise as I would want to because there's no clicking whatsoever compared to other lenses that I have. It also has an autofocus and manual focus, a little kind of clicking button, which is very easy to move, which is something that I would have preferred to be a little bit harder to, kind of click it and it stays, and, push it a little bit harder so that it won't click by accident. But other than that, it's pretty well easily to manipulate, because in reality, I don't shoot with my finger here. I mainly shoot here, or if anything, I might be like over here, but I never kind of put my finger there anyway. So it's not that big of a worry for me personally, but I know for some people it might be a little bit annoying. So just want to give you that little bit of a warning. If you're wanting to, switch back and forth easily, it'll be good. But if you're not really sure with your hands, might not be the best. Other than that, this is a pretty great lens when it comes down to the autofocus so far that I've used it for photo and video. We're going to be going ahead and testing it out as well here in the studio, doing a little bit of outdoor portraits, and as well just kind of seeing if I can do some street photography or something, whatever else I can find around me, to test it out for what I would usually normally use for my type of content. It does have a 62mm thread size, so if you use, like for me, I use 82mm. I just usually use a step-up ring if needed for having my lens filters and everything like that to be able to use it. But other than that, that's pretty much it. As for now, I don't have the price point for this lens. They're going to basically be launching it here soon, so this is when the video will be launching. So I'll put the price and everything in the comment down below, so you can have it all pinned down with the link to the lens as well if you want to purchase this lens and support the channel that way with an affiliate link. But other than that, that's pretty much it. So let's go get creating into some examples. So it was time for my wife to take the photos of me, since I always take photos of her, because I wanted to see how well this lens will work for her for a quick little studio setup. I have to be on my knees for this one, but I have to do a quick little speed round of interview. So far, what did you think of the lens?
It's pretty nice. You just have to watch it, obviously, for
the aperture ring.
Watching the aperture and then the autofocus versus manual, because it doesn't lock in place. Yeah,
that's exactly what I said for my initial thing without her even being present. So look at that. Just something to watch out for. Well, we're going to move on to the next thing. So we're now going to move on to do some outdoor portraits, and I'm going to be behind the camera this time to showcase a little bit how I would use it for some outdoor portraits of my wife. I want to do a little bit of video before going outside, just to kind of show you how the 50mm f1.8 looks with this one, with the 7Artisan lens. I'm using it with my ZV-E one, just kind of move it around, see how it looks. So yeah, this is a little bit of a quick example, and then we'll be going out and about and creating a little bit more with it so that you can see a little bit more. But just want to give you a quick rundown of how the video would be for maybe a talking headshot style. So looks like the autofocus is working so well so far, hopefully. And that way you get in a little quick idea. Before heading out to take some more photos, I saw that the light was looking rather nice here, so I wanted to do some self-portraits to see how well the lens would work with the Sony app and my Sony a7 IV, to see how well it would nail focus and how easy it would be to use by yourself. Alright, so we're going to do a little bit of portraits out here with some nice and natural light. And we're just gonna do kind of like a lifestyle type of portraits, just of the outfit, kind of get a couple photos to show you some nice examples. And as well, I'm gonna try to just keep it at f1.8 because I feel like that's more in a sense, what people are gonna be wanting for the bokeh and everything. And I try to do a little bit more with a higher aperture just to try to see a little bit of difference for like the landscape style, see what I can create for you guys. So we're gonna get creating some good examples. All right, trying to see right there. One, look up like that. 1, 2, and see how the bokeh is. 1, 2, and 3. Like that. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Nice. Bokeh delicious. Stay like that because I'm going to take one of you from behind. I'm going to do a higher aperture on this part. So I'm going to do one at 1.8. Boom. And then we're going to go to 7.1 to showcase. 1, 2, 3. And then maybe I'll do 5.6 as well. So I'm gonna be doing a little bit of videoing with this, just to see a little bit of kind of like the focus breathing, where I'm gonna tap the screen to see how it'll focus on her and then on the background as fast as possible, and see how it does it with the 1.8, and then maybe go a bit higher with the aperture. But we're just gonna see how well it can perform with that, just to make sure that if you're planning to do it for video and portrait like photos, see how much it'll like focus breathe, or if it'll kind of be hunting a bit or not. So we'll see how it turns out here shortly. So let's focus on you. Now focus on the background. Focused on you. And now the background again at f1.8, not too shabby. All right, we're gonna up the aperture to, let's go to 5.6. And again, it's tracking you. And now let's go to the background. To you and the background. All right, we're gonna do it again. I'm gonna get closer. So now we're still at 5.6. So let's focus on her. Let's focus on the background. And back to her. And the background. But now that we got a little bit of some portrait kind of style video, we're gonna just do a couple more portrait just photos and call it a day with these types of photos that we wanna see for examples. Because yeah, it's always good to have some extra ones, but that way you guys can see a little bit of a different, like if I was doing more of an actual, I guess, type of portrait shoot. You can do like a twirl like that, and I'll follow. So take a step back, and then you'll twirl towards me. Ready, set, go. Jeez, I moved the autofocus, that manual focus again, jeez. Look here more that way. There you go. I'll try to do. There you go. 1, 2, 3. And now that we're back from shooting with this lens setup and camera combo, using the 50mm by 7Artisans, that is their first full frame lens, for a very cheap price, if I'm correct. It's about $200 from what I've seen online, because as I've been recording this video, it hasn't had the official price one that I've been able to find. I wasn't even told, but I know that they're a very affordable company, so I wouldn't be surprised if it is the $200 mark. But with the $200 mark, there is a bit of a drawback that you're gonna find out with this lens setup. See, surprisingly, this lens for the price point of what I think it is, it's actually surprisingly really nice. One of the things that I find quite nice is that honestly, the autofocus for this lens is quite rather good. I've used it quite a bit for photos as well as for some stuff for like sports, which I'll make a separate video more about the sports photography, but just to kind of showcase a little bit of a couple photos and videos so you can see it right now and get an idea of what it can do with a little bit more kind of faster paced movement. But the one thing that I'm actually surprised at 1.8, it's actually pretty nice when it comes down to the sharpness and the autofocus and everything. Obviously, the higher aperture you go, you're going to have more sharpness in the sense of everything's going to be just in focus. But other than that, the performance of that is quite nice. And I was actually very surprised with the image quality of it with some minor setbacks. The minor setbacks that I'm talking about in reality is that depending on how the light is hitting, it might reflect off of the front coating a little bit weird. I mainly noticed it when I was doing it on my tennis academy. I was doing a little bit of videoing for the testing of the sports kind of like footage and everything as well. I would notice a little bit of a glare kind of come down onto the screen, and I thought at first it was going to be maybe my Cinebloom filter that I had on it, but because I used to try to do it whenever I'm out there for light in the nighttime, and it just makes it look nicer. But I also want to do it without it just to see everything. But without it, I still noticed it, so it's just kind of a little bit of an issue when it comes down to the reflection of the front of it, I guess. So take that with it with what you will in a sense, but other than that, it actually performed really well. The one thing that I don't like personally, and this is something that's going to be just more of a preference for you, is going to be how the aperture ring is just a sliding one. So if you move it just by accident a little bit, it doesn't lock or anything, so you might be changing your aperture without meaning to. And as well with the autofocus and manual focus kind of clicking kind of, I guess, button, the main issue with that is sometimes you won't notice it that you moved it by barely gracing it. So that's a little bit of an issue for me because like I said at the beginning, I genuinely shoot like this more. I don't really bring my thumb over here that often unless it's like a big lens where I'm like, okay, I need to maybe hold on to it for the base part of it so that it has more balanced out, kind of feel to it, so that the lens isn't just the heaviest part, and you never know, you might damage your camera or something. So that's my thought process of it. So that's the only gripe, because it is very cheaply made in that aspect for the button. It feels like it could come off at any time, and the aperture ring, just wish it would click, or you would have the option to lock it in place, at least just whenever you want to put it on the A section right there, so you can control it with your custom buttons or something, just so you're not having to move it as much by accident or anything like that. But other than that, that's literally my only gripe. And for the price point of this lens, that most of the time these kind of camera companies do a fairly cheap kind of alternative than maybe Tamron or Samyang or Sony lenses, obviously, is actually quite surprising. You actually get pretty good glass when it comes down to this lens. I got really good photos, I got really good video with it, and I was more surprised than not that I would nail the focus and follow my subject a lot smoother than I thought it would, especially with it being their first full frame autofocus lens. With that being in mind, I'm sure things going forward, they'll probably get better and better since they're actually nailing it pretty well from the start with the autofocus. Maybe the build can become better eventually as well, but other than that, I mean, if you need a cheap 50mm 1.8, this is not a bad alternative to go with. And if you want to pick it up, like I said, I'll have the links in the description area and as well pinned down in the comment below if you want to support the channel that way with my affiliate links at no extra cost to you. But other than that, that's pretty much it when it comes onto my review of this. They have no say in it. Like I said, this is not like an actual sponsored video or anything like that. It's just more, I thought it was an intriguing piece that whenever they reached out to me, I told them that I was like, they can send it out. If I really feel like it's something that could align for my audience, I'll definitely check it out and make a video of it. If I don't really feel like it's worth it, I'm not going to. But like I said, for $200 of this kind of lens, that it is, I'm pretty surprised that you can get pretty good results. So if you're on a budget or want to get even a little bit more of a different kind of feel for your glass, I think this is a great alternative to have, because I know 7Artisan makes a lot of manual lenses. They're like kind of have that vintage feel. Now you'll have it with a little bit more of the full frame like autofocus style. So not a bad choice to go with if you're on a tight budget or if you want to try something different. But if you have any more questions, please let me know down below. Just leave me a comment. I'll be more than happy to try to help you out as much as I can. I do have another video that's going to be coming out about the low light capabilities with like kind of sports photography for the autofocus to see how well it holds. You already saw a little bit of a preview of it, but that way I can give you more of my insight after reviewing most of the footage and give you an honest opinion of how good it could be for autofocus and low light capabilities. But other than that, that's pretty much it when it comes down to this lens kind of only lens review, if you will. And hopefully you had a lot of fun with me. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe to this video with a friend. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.